help you size a ring. Since it can help you having this adapter, this way you're able to always charge your much smaller than what you've probably ever experienced. What does that letter L mean? And then you can say, it means my name. And my name, cover that up when you pick up it. You're spending 6 months or longer away from home, the things that you can take with you to be able to better that time outside of the time you're working can make a huge difference. So here's the list. Starting with the things that are going to be able to help you with your job. These are some items that are going to be able to help make you a few extra dollars, and that's going to end up making you a lot happier at the end of your contract. Starting with number one. Number one is a jewelry glove. The way you present jewelry ends up playing a big difference. And if your hands aren't the most well looked after, then placing that glove on is at least going to cover that up when you pick up that diamond ring to be able to show a cruise ship passenger. Or just in general, it's going to make the perceived value of the item you're picking up seem so much more valuable. Think about it for a moment. When is the last time that you've ever seen a person put on a glove before they touch something that is valuable? It makes that item seem so much more valuable. So picking up a pair of these is going to make a big difference. Most likely they're not going to be given to you when you do come on board a cruise ship, so buy them beforehand. Number two is great if you're able to personalize your outfit, put a little bit of something into it. Now, most of the time you are going to have a uniform that you will then need to wear, but this would be a pin. It would be a pin, a brooch, a lapel pin that is going to be crystalled with the first letter of your name. This is a perfect little something to be able to wear, because one of the things that you are going to find when many upon many people end up visiting the jewelry store that you're working in on board that cruise ship, that so many people are going to look, but many people want to have a conversation but just don't know how to start it. You're just giving them the easy way to be able to begin that conversation, because they're going to ask you, oh, I like that pin. What does that letter L mean? And then you can say, it means my name, and my name is this. What's your name? So make sure to be able to pick that up. If you have the ability to customize a little bit of what you wear, that pin can end up opening so many more sales for you and making a big difference too. And if you're wondering where all these links are, they're down in the description of the video. So simply scroll down to be able to find them. Now let's go into number three. Number three is a little piece of curled up plastic. Yeah. A little piece of curled up plastic, but it can help you size a ring. Since it can help you size a ring, this curled up little piece of plastic goes around a ring when the ring is a little bit too big. And if that person's wanting to be able to wear it, but it's going to take them some time to be able to get it back and get it sized, or they just want to experience what it would feel like if it fitted perfectly, using this little bit of plastic and cutting that piece off so it fits the ring to that person's finger is going to make them very happy. And in many cases, that little bit of plastic is going to help you close so many more sales, because the person's going to be able to start enjoying wearing it now compared to wearing it later. So that is a must buy. You have to take these on board with you. It's going to end up making you definitely a lot of money, because people can start to experience jewelry instead of thinking, oh, you know what, there's a lot of concerns when it comes into being able to have a ring sized. Are you going to have to ship it? Is the person going to have to send it? Not everyone is comfortable, regardless of an amount of insurance that is available, sending a ring in a postage bag, because there is the ability in the past that they might have had where they lost something, the post lost this, the post lost that, and they just don't want to have to deal with it if that does happen. Or the fact that many insurance companies maybe just haven't paid out so easily, and they think there's going to be a lot of stuff they'll have to go around to be able to get that money back from the ring they spent a couple $1,000s on. So buy the piece of plastic. Now the next one, which is your pocket-sized notebook. The pocket-sized notebook is great because these you're going to be able to carry around with you during the workday, and you're going to meet so many people. Over a day at sea, you can meet 100 people, more than 100 people. The fact of you remembering each person's name, the room number, what you showed them, what their objection was, why they didn't end up making a purchase, are they having an anniversary a few days later on in the cruise and they're thinking of coming back to be able to purchase it then at that time, all of this little bits of extra information. If you have that pocket-sized notebook, when the person leaves, you're able to write that down. Or just the name and the room number, you're able to write it down in front of them. And if it's a small notebook, it's going to make it so much easier than if it's a big notebook too. And buying a multi-pack of them, because you are going to end up losing some of these over time. At least if you have a few more, a replacement or two, that's going to end up making a big difference. Now, the next few items are items that are going to make your life better outside of the work time. Considering if this is the first time you're going to be working on board a cruise ship as a crew member, get ready for the reality of having a very small cabin. Very, very small space. A space that is so much smaller than what you've probably ever experienced in your entire life. So compacting things make your whole life a lot easier. Starting with the first one, which is going to be a collapsible laundry bag. The collapsible laundry bag is great because your cabin space is small, and when you have dirty clothing, for you to be able to collapse the bag, to be able to make the bag a little bit smaller and make it bigger as you start to fill it up, or well, let's say you have no laundry at that time, to be able to fold it, then just slide it away behind your bed, under your bed. That is going to save you a lot of space. So make sure to buy one. And the next one is then going to be a travel adapter. When you're traveling so much to the cruise ship, and when you end up going out into the different cruise ports, having this adapter, this way you're able to always charge your phone, you're always able to have connection. Think for the moment of if you decided we're going to go to the beach for the day, and you have to get back at a certain time because the crew all aboard is at this time, or you're worried that you're going to end up being back late for work. If you have that travel adapter, at least no matter what country you're in at that time, you know you're going to be able to charge your phone. And also make sure it has a surge protection to it, because when you're using that inside of your crew cabin, there is different currents, different wattages, and this way your adapter is going to convert it to the correct or appropriate wattage. So this way you don't burn anything out. And the adapter should also have some extra USB slots, so you can charge multiple things from that one adapter at that one time. Now let's move on to the next item. The next item is going to be for your shower. It's a hanging shower organizer. This organizer would go over the back of your shower door, and it would hang down the back of it. Now this is going to make it easy for you to place so many of different items, different toiletries into that area. If your cabin mate's fine with it, of course, you can have the whole shower organizer for yourself. Maybe you share a bit of it with them and say, oh, it's okay if you want to place a thing or two there in this spot. This way you can keep the shower area nice and clean and tidy. It saves you from having to place some things in there, some things out of there, and it's just a hassle of having to go back and forth. It's not worth it. Just having that hanging shower organizer will make it a definite big difference. And having for your wardrobe something that's going to allow you to be able to hang multiple pieces of clothing. So not one clothing hanger, but a multi-clothing hanger, and a few of them too. A multi-clothing hanger, this way you can place 5, 6, 7 shirts onto the one hanger, because guess what? Just like the room being small, wardrobe's going to be teeny as well. So picking up a couple of those is going to make a big difference, especially working in a role where you're going to be having to be very presentable most of the time. That way you can pre-iron these and they're not going to get wrinkly, because you have to fold them up to try to fit them into smaller spaces, and then you have to get up earlier in the morning to be able to iron them before you do get into work. And the next one is going to be compression socks. If you're wearing longer pants, especially with your job, when you are up there in the jewelry boutique, you're going to be standing for a very long time. If you can wear something with compression around your feet, your legs, it's going to help prevent the inevitable Even with the compression socks, I still get it as well, the inevitable fatigue. Your legs are going to be sort of 12, 13, 14, 16 hours that you might be standing for in some cases. So no matter what, they are going to get sore, but these little things do make a big difference, especially if it is going to be your first time working on board a cruise ship. And the next one is going to be a Hydroflask. A Hydroflask or a thermos. That way you can keep tea, coffee nice and hot. You can keep your colder drinks cold for when you are up there during the work day. If you do get a little bit sick, a little bit of a sore throat, having tea with honey with you and allowing that tea to stay warm for a really long time can end up making a big difference to your overall experience. And when you do get into areas like the crew mess area, the staff mess area, you're going to have stations where you're able to refill it with hot water, and there's normally always tea there for crew members too. So definitely a Hydroflask or thermos bottle is a must, something that you definitely are not going to be able to live without when you're out there working on board. Now, the cabin being small, normally it being shared means some smells can start to happen. So the next one on the list is a diffuser. Now, a diffuser with some different oils that you're going to be able to place into them. Now, before just going ahead and ordering all these different ones, make sure to be able to ask the person that you're living with, your cabin mate, because smells, even though they might not notice that whiffy smell that's there in the room. You might notice it, but then when you bring in this new scent or smell, don't create some kind of issue. Just at least ask them, say, I'm going to buy a diffuser. Is there any kind of scents or anything that you do like, that you don't like? That way, it can buy them to keep a room smelling really nice. And that can be a great way, especially if you're not the most comfortable person you're not very comfortable in having that disagreement possibly of one person smelling a little bit. This is an easy way for you to be able to cover it up. And also sharing a small space, and sometimes the person that you're living with, your cabin mate, might not be working in the same department as you. They might have a different work schedule, so they could come in the middle of the night, maybe they work in the casino, and that ends up making some noise, they turn the lights on and everything. So a sleep mask. So at least, even though you're still going to hear the noise, and I recommend still hear the noise, because the moment that you decide to buy earplugs is the moment that you're not going to hear your alarm, and you're going to end up getting in late for work and everything because you decided to wear earplugs because the person you're living with is a little loud. It's better to have that uncomfortable conversation and say, can you be a little bit more quiet when you do come in from the end of day, because I'm trying to sleep and I start a lot earlier than you are. That conversation, much better than buying earplugs and waking up late. And the sleep mask will just black out all of that light. Even though you should have a curtain if you're in a shared room to be able to cover the area where your bed is, you still will end up seeing some of that light. And if you're a sensitive sleeper and you're going to be brand new to working on a cruise ship, that is a must buy. Now, the next one is a luggage scale. The handheld luggage scale for the time at the end of your contract. You might come to the cruise ship with less items and you're going to be under the baggage weight and everything, all good, you know. The company paid for your baggage and everything there. And then you've decided, oh, you know what? I like this, I like this, I like this, I'm going to buy this. And then 6 months later, when you're at the end of your contract, you're like, oh, damn, I have a lot more luggage than what I thought I would. And baggage fees for overweight baggage, well, that's not reimbursable. So you're going to be having this handheld luggage scale is going to help you save money at the end of your contract. So definitely make sure to have one of those. Now, some cruise ships, they'll have an area for crew to be able to weigh their luggage, but that, in my years of doing it, is definitely not most of them. And with it being that way, sometimes just how you feel in your cabin can end up being a little bit uncomfortable. Pillows, they ain't the best for you to be able to sleep on. And sometimes you're going to have a hard time adjusting to that. So having a super soft memory foam-like compactable pillow for your trip to the cruise ship and from when you're there on board is going to end up making your sleep so much better. And it's not just the comfortability. Most of the time, well, when you get into this cruise ship cabin that you're going to be living in for the next 6 months, and the person that's left before you has replaced everything, the sheets, the pillows, and the pillowcases, just pull back that pillowcase and take a look at the pillow. Most of the time, they don't look too good. So having your own pillow hygienically can be a very, very good move. The one that I've linked down in the description of the video is compactable enough that you'll easily be able to take it with you when you're traveling without it taking up so much space in your luggage too. Now the next one is a shoe organizer. A shoe organizer to help keep your shoes nice and clean as well, and just keep them organized. There's not a lot of space in your cabin. So the shoe organizer can then go from where you have your cupboard to hang all of your coats, your dresses. It can go on the inside of the cupboard, still facing in or facing out at the same time, or even hanging over the door if you end up deciding to share the shoe organizer with the person that you're then living with. And the organizer will allow you to easily be able to find your shoes whenever you need them, and it's going to keep them off the floor, which floor space when you're living in a cruise ship cabin is a big thing, because that comes into where you're going to have to slide your suitcase eventually. If it's under the bed, most of the time people are thinking, oh, under the bunk bed, that's where I'm going to put them. And you're going to find you don't have much space to put your shoes there, because your big, massive luggage bag is going to most likely end up there. And now the next one is for showering. A super soft towel makes a big difference. The towels that I've normally experienced from when working on board feel a little bit more like an exfoliator. Well, not a nice exfoliator either. It's very rough, not nice at all. And that luxurious feel from when you do get out of the shower and you use a nice towel, it feels good. So my recommendation, Cariloha bamboo towels. Buying the Cariloha bamboo towel set, the bamboo material is a lot cooler than cotton. It's softer as well too. So especially with it being soft and cool, then also very moisture wicking and absorbent, this gives you the luxurious feel of like, oh, I feel like I'm back in that hotel that I stayed in the night before I got to the cruise ship, but for that entire 6 months. The only problem with buying one of those towels is it's a brand that's really well known on cruise ships by the crew members, so when you do go to wash it, make sure that you set your timer to be able to go back to the laundry in time, because people tend to steal that brand from you, and it might just be like, oh, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I took it, but that can end up happening. Now the next one is magnets. When you go on board, most of the walls that are going to be in your room are going to be able to have a magnet against them in some way, even from your bed. If you're on a bunk bed, the bottom of the bunk bed above you, the roof above you too. Now with these magnets, you're going to be able to hang up different things, hang up pictures, hang up things that are going to be able to make it feel a little bit more homely for you. So buying a set of magnets, and don't have to be magnets from the different destinations, because you will end up collecting those eventually, but just basic magnets are going to be able to make your space feel a little bit more like home for those next 6 months or longer that you end up being there. And with being there for so long, staying healthy is a must. So over time, you're going to get a little bit bored of the food. The food is nice, but eventually the food is like, oh, it's the same. Portable blender. Now the portable blender isn't the one you plug in to a power outlet, but one that you can charge up over time. That way you can end up putting fruits from the crew mess area into there to be able to blend it up, a protein shake to be able to blend it up nicely. This way you can start to be able to make something that's yours. And over time, you're really going to need this. So a portable blender, a definite, again, must buy. And over time, you're going to end up finding that your breaks that you have when you're working on board might be potentially an hour, but since it's a day at sea and you end up with a really good guest, a person that could end up making a big purchase too, and they end up coming back maybe 15 minutes into your lunch break, and then you're like, oh damn, I'm just there, I'm eating, but now you need to get back, and that ends up making you rush. And when you rush, you might end up spilling something onto your uniform, and it's going to be in the area that you don't want it, an area where everyone can see it. So having a stain remover in your cabin, a stain remover spray, can be an absolute lifesaver. So make sure to have that, because it is going to happen. And when it happens, it's always that area where you're thinking, damn, you know, why did it just fall in my pants, that piece of spaghetti, that sauce? Why did it have to fall into the white part of my shirt that my blazer was covering? Somehow it managed to get there. So definitely take it with you. And with that in mind, there's some things that you might be thinking, ETHOON didn't mention these, but should I take them with me on board? Well, these are the items that you might have been just thinking of. Number one is a kettle. Do not bring a kettle. It's going to be confiscated, You'll be able to pick it back up from security at the end of your contract. You're definitely not going to be able to have that in your room. Along with that is candles. Those nice scented candles that you might be used to having at home is an absolute fire hazard on a cruise ship. You will not be able to have candles, so those also will get confiscated from you. If you somehow manage to bring one in and then you use it, well, you're going to end up in a lot of trouble, probably end up even going home, being fired, not from the company you work for, but from the cruise line because of safety issues that you're starting to cause. Another one would be flowers. Fresh flowers are an absolute no again. And to go with that, a steamer. The little steamer, no matter the size of it, you cannot use one. You will not be able to bring one. The steam itself might end up setting off smoke alarms. Several issues around it. There's ironing stations inside most of the areas where most crew will have a laundry and an ironing station there to be able to iron your clothes, but no steamer in your room. Now, if you've made it to this part of the video, you're probably still wondering, who is this guy? Well, my name's ETHOON. I'm your jewelry sales training expert, jewelry marketing expert. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and you might notice there's a few other videos that are floating around somewhere here on the screen. I would click that one, and I'll see you there next.